Hey guys, Jack here, and today I'm bringing you some brand spanking new Mirror's Edge Catalyst gameplay and first impressions. I went over to DICE in Stockholm a couple of weeks ago where the magic happens to play and capture exactly what you're seeing here, and in total I probably spent around 3 hours with the game, and this is pretty much everything that's going to be in the beta, which is due to be released on April 22nd. Okay then, a new Mirror's Edge. The original from 2008 was a cult hit that nailed video game free running, and it's still pretty today. However, the story and combat was lacking, and you could complete it in around 3 hours, believe it or not. Skip to 2016 and we've got a reboot of the series that builds on the fundamental design of the first game, but it wipes the slate clean with the story. This isn't a sequel or a prequel. The story from the first game has been mostly nuked, and I'm totally okay with that. What we have now is a new version of the Mirror's Edge world, a much more interesting, fleshed out one with a past and a history, and we've also got Faith, the protagonist of the game. She's a runner that has a voice, a history, problems, and lots of other characters to get involved with. How does the game feel and how does it play? Well, if you played the first game, you'll be right at home here. Familiar is the best way I can describe it, and the free running in the new game is sublime. When you get into a nice flow without any stops or hiccups, you just feel like a badass running on the rooftops, especially if you're throwing combat in there too. It's a refined version of the original game that's very simple to control. LB for jump and wall run, LT for slide, tuck or crouch, but your timing is critical and the path you take to how fast you can move. The free running is ace and I can't fault it. The biggest difference here is with the combat and the very nature of the game. The original was very linear with few options for the player. The new game, however, has gone open world. As soon as you complete the starting tutorial area, you're free to explore the city. All of the missions are displayed on the 3D map and away you go. Do you want to run from main mission to main mission? Go ahead. Do you want to complete side missions like billboard hacks, deliveries, races, hunt for collectibles? You can do that. There's more scope and chance for the player to explore and just enjoy the free running. You might stumble across a group of protectors with a prisoner as you're gallivanting around the rooftops. Defeat them in combat, save that person, and you'll be rewarded with the new XP system. Yes, XP system. In the new game, Faith can upgrade her free running abilities and combat skills with XP. Not all moves are available from the start here, which might annoy some people. You have to unlock the roll and 180 spin, for example, but they are pretty early on in the skills tree. There's a lot to unlock here, broken up into movement, combat and gear. Moving on, let's talk about the combat in the game, and this was one of the biggest criticisms with the first title and those painfully slow motion counterattacks and disarms. Thankfully they're gone, as are the guns. You won't be firing a single bullet in this game. The combat system here is a lot more refined and crunchy, way quicker too, and there's some interesting mechanics to it. Firstly, let me explain that whilst you're running and you've built up maximum focus, that's that meter at the bottom, you're bulletproof. So the key is to keep running, attack with heavy momentum moves to stumble or pacify opponents rapidly. However, if you slow down or trip or land badly, you're going to lose focus and be very susceptible to lead. Not good. When you're fighting multiple people too, you can do some interesting things depending on which direction you aim your attack from. You can dodge, jump kick, wall kick, slide kick from any direction. You can push bad guys into walls, props, off ledges, even push them into each other to make them trip and stumble. Many ways to fight here, which is great, and occasionally you'll trigger a third person takedown on the last bad guy. It was very satisfying, intuitive, and it sounded great, but I did feel like that when I was fighting multiple melee opponents, they had one at a time syndrome, and I would have preferred more of a challenge if they all attacked together. It was a bit ring around the rosy as well, making it pretty easy for me to dodge or run circles around the bad guys. Now this could have just been because it was near the start of the game and kind of like an easier introduction, but I hope that as the game progresses, the combat is more difficult and it requires me to think and plan ahead a bit. I'd love to see some Arkham Knight style combat gadgets further into the game too, such as tasers or distraction pellets. Just a bit more brawling, I suppose, but I don't know for sure if that stuff is going to be there. Ultimately in this game, you've got a choice here. You can stand your ground and fight or run away as fast as you can. This game also kind kind of has multiplayer in it too, or social play let's call it. You're not going to see other real players per se in the game, but you will be able to compete with others in the form of user generated races and challenges. At any point during gameplay you can bring up a menu and create a social challenge that's going to be uploaded. You get 20 checkpoints and you can place them absolutely wherever you want, mid-jump, mid-wall run, wherever you please really, to create a time trial or dash to upload to the cloud. This is cool, and I remember the challenges from the original game being hard as nails, trying to find the best routes to get the best time out of your mates, and now these are all user generated, so there's an infinite number of challenges here, and at any point you might stumble across a challenge on the ground created by someone and give it a shot. If I remember correctly too, you can actually rate the challenges, so the best, most popular ones will move to the top of the list and the trolly annoying ones will be buried. You'll also see the ghosts or echoes of the fastest players and have to try and beat them. It's a nice way to tie multiplayer into the game, but I kind of wish there were some actual live multiplayer game modes in here too. Graphically, obviously the game looks gorgeous, it's DICE, it's Frostbite engine. In 4K, this will be extremely pretty. It ran well too. The system I played on was using a GTX 980 and an i7. FPS was awesome at 1080p and ultra settings. Overall, I was impressed with the couple of hours I spent playing the game, and I think it's going to be an excellent second entry into the Mirror's Edge franchise. Very interesting to see how the characters and story develops too. Typically DICE haven't been very good at single player writing and creating characters that you care about, but there are some glimmers of hope here from what I've seen so far. The free running is awesome, combat is good, but I want the difficulty to ramp up as the game progresses. Lots to see and do in this open world. My only major worry with the game is will there be enough variety in the main missions and side missions throughout the game to keep players interested and throw new challenges, action set pieces and environments at them. In what I played, there was only really 3 or 4 types of side missions that were all very samey. I assume more will be added as the game progresses. If not, they're going to get repetitive and boring. And that's all for today folks. I hope you enjoyed this first look at Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching guys. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, a thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll see you in the next one.